Hmm. Well, good morning, folks. Or whoever may be watching this at whatever time. More likely myself in the future, but I might post it to YouTube eventually. Today is moving day. It's our last day at the Little Naches River. And we were coming up Highway 402, or was it 410? I think it was 410. And then we took the Little Naches Road, and we drove up as far as the bus would allow, because generally we're going uphill the whole time on 410. This is in Washington, near Mount Adams, for anyone who says, where the hell is 410? Mount Adams is in Washington State, just southeast of Seattle. So we've spent a lot of the trip here just kind of winding around the east side of the mountain and back. And this is the longest trip any of us have ever, taken as far as camping goes, taking the bus and everything. So we're 2 weeks in. It's Monday morning. I don't know, July. Actually, I think yesterday was 7/19, which is really funny because it's kind of my lucky day because of my number, obviously. And you just kind of, it is what you make it, like everything else in life. So I kind of make that my holiday. Totally forgot about it all day, which is a good thing. I tried to rescue a floaty that blew across the little river yesterday evening, and I fell and messed my leg up, dropped my vape in the river, and it was just a nightmare. I was super exhausted, and now I'm kind of recovered here. Early on Monday morning, I'd say it's around 7:30, maybe 8. And the thing about being out in the woods is once the sun hits, you're ready to get up, or at least I am. And it's so quiet right now for a Monday morning. And I guess that's the contrast I wanted to make here. For anybody who's ever wanted to travel up the Little Naches or wondered what's up here, it's an absolutely beautiful area. There's a paved road that goes all the way up, as far as I've gone, and lots of RVs, trailers, campers, ATVs, and so I'd like to make a few notes about the area. First off, if you're opposed to people shooting guns or riding ATVs around you while you're camping, this is not the place for you at all. And I am that person, okay? I'm the kind of person who likes my solitude. I like privacy. However, there is a certain, not an ambiance. It's not can't even think of the right word for it. When you go down to the river and there's other kids playing and you have your kids with you and they can all jump off the cliff together. My son did his first cliff jump. It was pretty short, but he was determined to do it, maybe 15 feet up. That's not bad for a 10-year-old. And so anyway, it was quite busy all weekend. Naturally, it's the middle of July, so we hit one of the most popular areas, and most of the people up here are probably from Yakima, because Yakima is just an hour away. So the reason we came up here was because the bus was overheating. It was too much, and we were going up these desert hills, and so we were going to go up to Lake Chelan. We decided to come up here. It was a great spot. Monday morning now, everybody's gone. There's no ATVs. There's not much noise anyway during the week, I would imagine. And the further you go up, probably the more privacy you have. We're camped about 100 yards from the fish ladder, the only one I know of on this river. So if you ever wonder what area I'm in, this big, beautiful rock ledge behind me, it's basically right before the fish ladder on Little Naches Road. So I figure I should tell a little story, or maybe not tell a story, rather. I just told stories, but rather get to a point. I woke up this morning a little bit sore. I went out, made a cup of coffee, and I sat and looked at the river down there. And I started thinking about prophecies and how when the Native Americans had their own medicine men or their own prophets, or not just Native Americans, but, traditional tribes around the world, they relied on prophecy to help them. I mean, it was part of their tradition. For some, for hoodoo or voodoo, it was rolling bones, or, looking at the entrails of squished squirrel, whatever it might be. It helps people cope to think that they can know what's coming. But what occurred to me is why prophecy today has just become so obscured and such a joke. I don't necessarily know whether I believe that humans can prophesy the future or whether we get feelings about what's coming, but I do feel that there is something there. Time is not linear, okay? I'm not going to go into some, crazy rant about how everything is happening all at once and there's no such thing as time and it flows backwards and everything's an illusion. None of that matters. Whether it's Maya, the illusion, here we are. And we have to face this reality and move linear in our lives. But it doesn't mean that everything is linear. And what I mean by that is we might be able to pick up on traces of things yet to happen. Okay? It sounds ridiculous, but that's fine. And because of that, I wondered why was prophecy so useful for those in the past? Well, their prophecy might rely on a bird that flew by at a certain time, at a certain location. Okay, let me just give you an example. Let's say that all of a sudden there's a flock of geese flying over. And because of that, there's a prophecy that it will soon be cold. Now, one might think, well, that's pretty obvious because we know that geese fly south in the winter. We know that this is a sign of winter coming, and we also know what time of the year certain flowers come out, and that's not really a prophecy. I can agree with that. But I guess the point I wanted to make was how much easier it was to prophesy something natural. Who's that? Truck full of concrete. Must be the workers getting the road fixed up there somewhere. Oh, another truck full of concrete. Sorry, asphalt. As I was saying, Monday mornings are so quiet around here. So it got me thinking about today and all the different silly prophecies people have about how this is going to happen now and on this date and this specific thing is going to happen now and how they've always failed. All the prophecies have failed because they're too complicated, I guess is the point I'm getting to. They've all failed because they have no point. It doesn't matter if a war is going to break out in the Middle East and you prophesied it 10 years ago. Who cares? We all know war is going to break out in the Middle East. It's just like saying it's going to rain sometime this winter, right? And the reason why people grasp to prophecies and why they hang on to them so much is because we just don't know and we really want to know. And I guess my message to that would be, let go. You don't need to know. We don't need to know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't need to know what's going to happen to our, our future selves, nor our descendants, nor do we have to worry about what the hell happened to our ancestors. None of that matters. All that matters is what we're living right now, this moment. And that gets into some pretty cheesy spiritual territory about living in the now, and it brings up thoughts of Eckhart Tolle sitting there on stage going, oh, you must just relax. That's just not the reality of life. I bring him up because he's a perfect example of someone who makes people think, I should be like that, more calm, cool, collected, living in the now. The reality is, the dude takes a shit in the morning, the guy has his problems, he gets frustrated, he spills his coffee, things like that. Everybody has their moments, and we all put on a show. But I think that the more we admit to each other we just don't know, and we don't have a clue, the happier we're going to be. As a whole, as a species, not as individuals. Because for some individuals, knowing the truth is the most important thing to them. And to me, that's pretty sad. The word truth has really little to no meaning unless it's pertaining to our interactions with one another. When we talk about the truth, it brings to minds of truthers who are out there screaming on the old truthers of the old would stand on the street corners ringing the bell, holding a sign saying, they're coming for you, the end is near. It reminds me of The Stand by Stephen King. In that movie, if you've seen it, yeah, you'll know. A big, tall guy with a bell, and yeah, it's a great movie. I like that movie. So anyhow, I suppose I should wrap this up. I just wanted to make at least one just kind of full-length video to talk to people while I'm here, even though I won't be uploading it probably for another 2 weeks. We're heading out from here, going back to 410, heading west probably towards Mount Adams, then maybe swinging around the south side and going to the Olympic Rainforest, Olympic National Forest. We went there once, and we went to the Hoh Rainforest, and we only drove in a ways. We were cheapskates back then. It was like 15 years ago, you know, and we didn't have a lot of money. We weren't on a long trip. We didn't have enough to pay to get into the park. It's like $35 or something. We're like, well, we're only gonna spend a day or two here. Of course, today I'd spend $35 just to go in there, you know, because even though I'm still broke, I know that the experiences are so much more worth it. I regret not doing the things that I wanted to do or I should have done when I was on my trips, my journeys, you know. Go on that hike, explore that canyon, jump in the river, you know. And I think life's just like that. We're hanging on to the future too much sometimes instead of just living in the present. Anyway, peace and love. We'll talk to y'all later.